Let's take my all-time favorite example of this backfiring, Magneto. Now, Magneto is the main villain of X-Men, a story about the persecution of people who have a genetic mutation that gives them superpowers. It's a very...
Damn you. That background music is just evil. Oh,
I was literally about to say the same.
It's so bad.
It is really awful background music.
What's up with that?
You know, I know you never liked the music I put in my videos, but I spent so much time, like listening to the music to try to get that balance in the volume of the music, to try to get that like that balance of like, I want there to be music that like you can hear, but still not annoyingly taking away from like distracting and annoyingly taking away from what I'm saying.
Well, it's hard to do. It's extremely hard
very
to
difficult to do.
And
right.
There's a wide array of musical tastes. So you're really... Most people are okay with silence.
Right. But like this would be the perfect example, because I'd always, like, if I had a song I wanted, but it had like a weird, like, like if it had some like weird, like very attention grabbing part of it, I would cut it out if I was going to use that in the background.
Yeah,
song.
of course.
So I think a lot of people just pick some random background music and they don't think about it.
And they just throw it in and let it rip. Yeah, exactly.
Magneto is the main villain of X-Men, a story about the persecution of people who have a genetic mutation that gives them superpowers. It's a very dated metaphor for racism in the 60s, and the films are a very dated metaphor for LGBT youth in the 2000s.
I can't even focus on what
I know.
saying. It's like...
You have to go back, because what they said is like,
the most important part of the video, I know.
I know.
He's like, I finally got to the point. Here, let the music completely overpower everything I'm saying. Okay, whatever.
The persecution of people who have a genetic mutation that gives them superpowers. It's a very dated metaphor for racism in the 60s, and the films are a very dated metaphor for LGBT youth in the 2000s. Magneto...
Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is there some like secret reading to the X-Men 2000 movie that
they're all gay? You didn't know that?
Like, what the fuck is this? I know that originally X-Men was, civil rights, obviously. That's very on the record. I'm pretty sure everyone involved with it said that was part of their thought process behind it.
Right.
Where is this? The X-Men movies were about LGBT youths. Where the fuck does that come from?
They're all they're all trans.
Wasn't there only one young person in the original X-Men? They made Rogue a kid. Wasn't everyone else an adult?
Pretty much, yeah.
Who else was a kid in the first X-Men movie besides Rogue?
Yeah.
Storm was an adult, Wolverine was an adult, Cyclops was an adult, Jean Grey was an adult.
Yeah.
Professor X was an adult.
And all the kids were in the school, but they were just no-name characters off in the background.
Yeah.
Except for Rogue. Rogue was like...
Except for Rogue.
Yeah.
They brought in Iceman later, but that was in the second one.
And then they did some prequels where they were all young.
Right, but that was late. That was completely later.
That's when they were trans, when they were all young and trans.
Jubilee wasn't in the X-Men movies, was she?
And then as they're adults in the later, the movies that come out first but are really the sequels, you don't know that they're trans because they're all completed their transition.
Right. I've never heard this. Is this a common thing? I've just never heard this before.
I'm making all this up.
No. I mean, no, I know that. I mean, like that the original X-Men movies were some LGBT metaphor. Like,
no, that's not true. He's just saying that.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's
just saying that. Yeah, I'm worse at this than you.
I know. Well, it's like even the Wachowski's now saying that the Matrix was originally a trans metaphor, and you're like, no, it fucking wasn't. Like, shut the fuck up.
People want to retcon their own shit, which just it's so weird to me.
Right. Danimal says that he's heard it a bunch. Okay. I'm wondering if it's like a meme that gets spread around the LGBT community or something. But
okay.
Magneto's whole shtick is that he's a Jewish Holocaust survivor who sees the impending discrimination against mutants as another Holocaust waiting to happen and is determined to not let it happen even if he has to get violent to do it. Now, your first thought upon reading up on Magneto's backstory and motivation is probably, hang on, why is he a villain again? This was for...
What?
Mm.
Wait a minute. You're kind of leaving out some central elements.
Yeah,
Okay,
can
to
you
the
imagine?
story here.
Can you
So
imagine if, like, when we defeated the Nazis, we decided, well, let's just get rid of all German people too.
yeah.
Why are we stopping at just the Nazis? Why don't we just avoid this problem altogether?
hmm
I mean, at some point, you're going a bit too far, right?
Right. And that's the problem with Magneto is that he's like, listen, like wasn't I'm trying to remember. Wasn't his plan either in the first one, it was to either turn everyone into mutants, and then later in one of the other movies, it was like to kill all non-mutants, like
Yeah.
literally kill all
Yes.
non-mutants.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's a bit excessive.
hmm
Yeah, hence the reason of just annihilating Germany. Like, let's divvy up Germany and we'll have no more Germans. I mean, World War One, World War Two, what are we doing here?
Right, right.
That's kind of Magneto's plan. But this guy's saying, why is Magneto? Or this gal is saying,
Magneto tries to kill all non-mutants in X2. Okay, so it was X2. I thought he was in one of the later ones.
yeah, why is Magneto the bad guy here? For wanting
Yeah,
to
like
genocide the entire human race?
right. It is interesting. And this is why this video is so bizarre, okay? Like Hitler thought he was doing the right thing.
Yeah,
Like
we
Hitler
get
didn't
that.
Yeah, Hitler wasn't like, yes, I'm evil, so I'm going to kill a bunch of Jews. Like, no,
Mm,
he thought he was doing the right thing. So you have
right.
Magneto, you have a character who basically, evilness creates, unfortunately, there's a problem with human nature, which is that evil actions very often create evil people. Victims of evil actions often create more evil people.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what makes his character tragic, is that, you have someone that basically lost their parents in the Holocaust, suffered through the Holocaust, and then they become, evil themselves. They become this thing they become the evilness that made them, evil in the first place.
Yeah.
So
For a very long time,
look, he's even doing the Hitler salute. Come on.
Yeah, why is he doing that?
a pretty fucking massive glaring issue with the comics. You have a Holocaust survivor seeing the signs of genocide creeping in and goes, oh fuck that noise, and is trying to stop it, and he's the bad guy.
Wait, why are you leaving out so much? It's not like, oh, I think they're gonna genocide my people. I need to stop this. It's like, oh, I have a feeling that at some future point that's not exactly clear, they're gonna try to genocide mutants, and so I have to kill them all first.
Yeah, but wait, who is the them and they in this scenario? Because I
Non-mutants,
find
I
it hard to
guess.
believe all human beings unanimously are going to be like, we need to genocide the mutants. There's going to be
Right.
plenty of humans that are like, I'm fine with mutants. Let's all get along and be happy, right?
Right.
There's going to be some small group of people who are like, mutants are dangerous. Let's kill them all. But yet you're
Right.
going to annihilate all people because of the actions of a small group of people dedicated to being dicks to mutants. That's not very fair.
Even if it's not a small group, even if it's 51% of the non-mutant population.
Yeah, you're still eliminating 49% of
Yeah.
humanity who don't
Right,
don't
right.
deserve it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this person, this they, doesn't seem to get that.
This was literally Hitler's argument too. Yeah, exactly. This was Hitler's argument.
Yeah.
That's why this is so weird. This is why this is such a weird argument that this video's making.
Now, while Magneto has been around since the 60s, this wasn't an established part of his character until about 1980, 10 years after the man who created him, Jack Kirby, left Marvel. And yeah, it does feel like something that would have been made after Kirby had left Marvel, wouldn't it? Originally, Magneto was just kind of a generic comic book supervillain, but also not. Again, X-Men was a dated metaphor for racism in the 60s, and, well, let's just say the rivalry between Magneto and Charles Xavier feels a lot like the rivalry that white liberals like to imagine existed between two certain historical figures. You know what I'm fucking talking about. Magneto's...
Okay. So let's address this.
Right.
So they're saying that that Professor X is supposed to represent Martin Luther King Jr. and Magneto is supposed to represent Malcolm X.
Really?
Right. That's what they're saying.
Okay.
It is weird because he says it's an imagined rivalry,
Right. So
which
it's
I
liberals
mean,
versus communists?
right, which is I don't know how anyone could talk about like I don't know if I'm pretty sure that MLK and Malcolm X they did occasionally talk about each other, but it wasn't something they hyperfixated on, and it's understandable why. They're trying to get equal right. They're both, even if they have different end goals, they're both trying to get equal rights to black people, and they don't want to divide the movement too much.
Right.
It's a completely strategic, like we're not going to shit talk each other. Maybe once we get, maybe once Martin Luther King Jr. gets what he wants, maybe that's when the shit talking starts. They start going, further past the post of what you want. But this is a very common thing that happens. And there was definitely a strong rivalry. I don't know if in between these two individuals, but it definitely was a strong rivalry between the two camps ideologically. Even if the figureheads of the movements didn't want to denounce the others too strongly, which I'm pretty sure Malcolm X has insulted MLK, and I'm pretty sure you can find that somewhere. But um, definitely people in the camps that are not really concerned about optics to the extent that the leaders are were 100% shit talking the other movement. The Malcolm X, the more, at least before Malcolm X changed, the more far leftist socialist types in the civil rights movement were calling, the moderates and the liberals a bunch of fucking wussies who would never get anything done. And the liberals were saying that all these crazy socialists running around are basically just going to provoke right wingers into, becoming more racist or, never getting rights for black people, which is
Right.
essentially what actually happened. When you remember, because there's some video that we covered. It was like Second Thoughts. Remember when Second Thought was advocating for violence,
Yeah.
and
Typical.
right, and we brought up, I forget what it was called. There was some study that was all about how if you actually compared it, nonviolent protests were like I
More
think
successful.
yeah,
Yeah.
but like wildly more successful, like 75% more successful than any sort of violent riot or anything had a
Right.
far greater chance of creating the opposite effect than
Right.
what the people rioting
As
or being
far as
violent
getting
wanted.
policy proposals passed.
Yes,
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Yeah. Nobody wants the policy proposals of murderous, riotous mobs
No,
passed.
no.
Imagine existed between two certain historical figures. You know what I'm fucking talking about. Magneto's new-ish backstory is pretty bog-standard sympathetic villain fodder. Namely, heroes plead to the moral sensibilities of an oppressor, and trying to end systemic discrimination by force is a bad, naughty thing for meanie poos.
This is such a child's view of the complexities of life. There's there's a reason Professor X is like, listen, you have to work within the system. Okay. You have to get people on your side. We have to live together with these people, right? You can't murder your way to peace. It doesn't work.
Right.
There's a reason Martin Luther King Jr. said, means don't justify the ends, means are the ends. Okay. You murder your way to the top and you're standing on that pile of corpses. You can't enact peace because everyone you murdered to get there along the way, the systems you created to murder those people along the way, are still what keep you in power, and you still need to feed them blood essentially
Yeah.
to keep them going. So, and that's why Professor X is the good guy. That's why Professor X is saying, "Oh, we need to work within the system. We need to get people on our side. We need to coexist with non-mutants." And Magneto is saying, "No, let's just fucking kill them." And then
Procedural fairness creates peace.
right,
Yeah.
but here's the real issue, and this is what this video is really about. Lily here, or whoever's talking, this individual that's talking, is mad that Professor X is basically trying to create a better world under the liberal framework of universalism and universal rights,
Yeah.
and everyone being treated the same. And Magneto is saying, no, I'm a fucking revolutionary. I want to kill everyone who's quote unquote oppressing me.
Yeah.
I want to kill the oppressors. Which you understand, and this is why. Let me explain to this person why this is stupid. Okay. Why do the people not like the mutants?
They're too powerful.
Oh, right. So it's almost like the people that are non-mutants are saying, hey, we need to go round up and get rid of all these mutants before they go and kill us.
Right.
And then Magneto's saying, we need to go round up all the non-mutants and kill them before they kill us.
Yeah. They basically all have the same plan.
Oh, look at that. It's almost the big problem with Magneto's worldview. That literally him and the people that are biased against him have the exact same idea about the other. And that's why you have Professor X saying, no, listen, guys. Listen, we need to all sing kumbaya around the fire here. You're both the same. You're both literally operating under the same fucking fear.
Yeah. Why can't we all get along?
Right. But that's too liberal. That's not revolutionary enough.